Morning everyone, my name is Vas Tcaci, I'm a BIM manager for Careys. Today what we're going to talk about the importance of sharing information, all that valuable design information that Liam has been talking about it, how that can benefit us as a contractor, because sometimes that information doesn't come to us for various reasons. So today what I'm going to talk about, I'm going to use as an example one of the projects that we currently won, which is gross mount, by the way, I said. So all we're going to talk about gross mount is just to give you an overview of the job. Gross mount is 26 kilometers of service road to service 38 wind turbines. Hopefully I got that one right. We have 1 million cubic meters of cut and fill, and it spans across, as you can see there on the right hand side, it's about 4.5 kilometers across, to give you an idea of the size, the scale of the job. And also it spans across 1,465 hectares of land approximately, and with which about 3% is developed. So I won't go too much in detail because, but just this is the reason why I put that information up there, is to give you an idea the size of the site and some of the challenges that go with that. So when we received this project at tender stage, the information came in was all 2D drawings. Now imagine 26 kilometers of road going to mountains with a lot of cut and fill. To do that over 2D drawing in whatever limited time you have for the tender time, that is a real challenge. So I've listed here some of the project challenges that we have for the job. So the first one here we have is balanced earthwood quantities. So we have to make sure that we're not left with too much fill or too much that we need to import material basically for the site or something like that. So remove or minimize the requirement of imported material. I think we're going to, at the moment we're aiming to actually remove all that, so we don't need to import anything. Identify the quantities, then different types of material generated from the cut areas, because you got peat and you got stone, you got rock, and you have to deal with it separately, and it costs different. In terms of price, the price is different. Also, minimize the haulage distances from the borrow pits to the rock disposal, because we have to deal with such a large area. You have to be very careful where you're digging from, where you put it to, because otherwise it'll cost a lot of money and you're going to be overpriced and not going to win the job. So simple as that. But fortunately in this case, ESB were very kind and shared this information with us. Their design model was given to me, and I had to go through and actually do the extract quantities from it. The process wasn't as simple as pressing a button, as some people expect. Pressing a button and the quantities come out. You have to play with the information. So we did receive the 3D model, which was great quality, by the way, from ESBI, and we managed to use that to be able to efficiently quantify and extract whatever information we wanted from it. Going to the next one. So basically, how do we use these models? Because these were done with the design in mind, to design the roads, and so there is a lot of valuable information within the model. So you had all the strata. So we knew what the bottom of the peak was, the top of the rock. All that information was in the model. So all we had to do, in a way, is play with the model and actually extract that information out, because otherwise it would have been a complete disaster if you had to go through all the 2D drawings. So the benefit of using or sharing this information with us as a contractor is basically we can calculate the cut and fill accurately. It also allows us to consider or propose value engineer options. Just to let you know that we, as a company, we have our own design team department which deals with this specifically. From a construction perspective, we value engineer a project, and when we receive a tender, our engineers look at over the project and they look at this options opportunities, I should call them, where we can actually save money in the construction and save, and also look into logistics and other things as well. It also allows us to understand the project much better. Having the 3D model and not just the 2D drawing is so much, it's just, you can't even compare it from my point of view. Also, you can identify the quantities of materials and different types accurately. As you can see here on the left-hand side, on the previous slide I had a bigger picture, because this area sits on a mountain, you have to go through a lot of cut, and then suddenly you have a lot of fill. So you have to be very careful what you do with the material on site, or how you plan it all out, because otherwise you'll be very inefficient. As a contractor, what I personally feel, or there is some kind of, from a designer's perspective, when it comes to releasing this 3D information, the designers, not ESBI, but general speaking, in the construction industry, they're very careful, and I understand that. They don't want the contractor to use that information, come back and say, listen, your model's all wrong, we want a lot more money because we've done a mistake, or something like that. But in our case, where we use the model, we don't fully rely on the model, we understand that. And I understand, when we look at the model, we understand that there is a certain level of, just how much I'm trying to say is how much you can rely on the model. We understand that it's not perfect. So to give you an example of how we use this model, for example, I've shown here three examples. So we have a cut area, we have a fill area, and we have one which is cut and fill. So you have to deal with this differently. You have to make a lot of decisions ourselves. So we're not just, as I mentioned earlier, pressing the button and these quantities just come out the model. So just a step very important to highlight that the fact that contractors are actually, they also know what they're doing when it comes to this digital information. Working for the construction stage now, we're about to start this job. We want to use this information as well, working with the SBI. I know they're developing their models at the moment. We want to use this information for build the job more efficiently using Leica equipment at the moment. We've invested as a company a lot in that. So this is an option that you can use using these design models. We can upload these models, just get the mesh out, put it into the machine control equipment, and this works very well. So basically, you don't need to put all those. So imagine 26 kilometers of rod. You have to put pegs in the ground, profiles, and do a lot of setting out ahead of the machines. And really, the driver works a bit blind, I would say. I've done a lot of setting out, and it was always could have been big, question mark from him. He was always could get something wrong. But if you upload the model in the machine, he's got like an iPad and a machine. He can see the road in front of him. He can excavate that. He can use that equipment. And at the moment we trialed it, and we, as a company, as I mentioned, we went and invested a lot in that equipment because we saw huge value. Setting out as well. Again, the latest equipment, all this models, you upload them straight into the instrument. You just go and do the setting out. Same way we do the survey before you start designing the project. In the same way, we can use that for the setting out, for recording information, and so on. So all that can be fed back into the model, so we can have an as-built model, which we have to hand over to the client at the end of the day. Also, we're looking on to drone surveys as well. We use it as a company in some projects in UK. I think we had like similar, about 1 million cubic meters of cut and fill on a site where it had to be treated, moved around the site. We used drone surveys, and you can see a picture there, which we went and surveyed the site. So on a situation like this, on a job like this particular one, technology like this can be very useful. Now, as a Carey Group, as a company, we have our own BIM strategy. What we don't want is like some of the companies out there is just to tick the box and say, yeah, we've done BIM. What do I need to do? That's what you need to do. Give me a model. That's it. That's BIM. That's it. Fine. I've ticked the box. I've done that. To us is more than that. We see a value. So the center of that picture there represents the design model from the client that we receive at the tender stage, construction stage, as it's been developed. How do we use that model as a company to benefit, not just as us, the company, but everyone involved in the project? Because if we manage, or if we build the project more efficiently, then everyone benefits. We all know that. We're all in it, if you know what I'm saying. It's all BIM, it's all sharing information, all that. So, as a company, what we do with this information, we do, one of them there which we launched is the Careys meta statements. So, you probably come across a meta statement. It's just a huge document with loads of unnecessary information from my point of view, which you give it to the lads on site and they don't really, just, oh, what do I need to sign? You know, on the last page, you just go and sign it off. That's not really the way forward. So what we've done is, we've taken these design models and we look at the meta statements that we're going to do on a project. We do pictorial meta statements. So we use 3D images to show them how stuff gets installed, how it's going to be done safely. What's our way, our standard as a company, you know, to keep people safe. And that's the way, and I think personally that's the future of construction safe system of works, because that's at the end of the day what we need to give to our lads on site. Again, 4D planning. The design model comes to design model again. We cut that model into sections, whatever we may need to model around that. We got a program, Gantt chart. You know, you guys have been probably doing construction sites, but that Gantt chart has been printed on a wall and then stitched along, and really people, they just put a drop line down and say, look, that's what we are on time. What does it really mean? Well, when you connect that with the design model, with the Gantt chart with the design model, then when you move your timeline, you can see what you're actually doing on a project. So that, from my point of view, that is the future of planning, is a 4D planning. Also, quantity takeoff. We're looking at the moment into doing quantity takeoff on structural projects as well, where we can actually extract quantities from the models. One of the problems that we have at the moment using that is we have to go and actually remodel some of the model that has been designed, because from a design point of view, and this is what the industry, I think, from a BIM perspective needs to change, is when the design model is done, it needs to be done with the quantities in mind, if you know what I'm saying. It needs to be done correctly so people can extract information from it. So when you draw a column, let's say, or a piece of structure, it has to be done right. You know, it needs to stop at the right level, not just for you just to extract drawings from it. So I think that will take some time. But at the moment, what we do is we have different softwares where we can import the model in and we can extract the information out of it, whatever information we want out. And that's quantity takeoff. And at the moment, we're only scratching the surface at the moment on that, from that perspective. Logistics. You probably saw some of the 3D sort path analysis earlier on that the guys were showing at the construction stage. We're doing the same thing for at the design stage, but we're doing the same thing at the construction stage, where we use the models, and you know, whatever different stages of the construction, we'll have to bring like different vehicles on site, or we have to put different machines. We want to see where they sit, what we're going to do with it, how are they going to work. Like in that small little picture there, we had a structure, we had to put a machine in there, and we weren't sure that it's going to be able to load the wagon. Things like that. Use the BIM model, put it in, get the machine model, put it in, animate it, see what happens. It's very important. Again, we use that model for visualization and construction sequencing. Again, for construction, to understand what you're going to do for construction stage is so important. So we use that as well. Clash protection, not only you guys as designers, or whatever is involved in the design process, use clash detection. We use it as well for our construction stage. That allows us to reduce the numbers of RFIs, highlight any design issues to the designer, and say, look, we have a problem here before, you know, like in this case here, pipe going through the slab. We want to identify that to make sure it's picked up and we don't go back and code drill through the slab or anything like that. As-builds, at the moment in terms of as-builds, and we're looking at technologies where we can actually point cloud a building and compare it directly against the BIM model. I know point cloud has been there for a while and we have used it a few years back when I was on site, but really technology is not there yet, so we contacted the developer in America at the moment, so we're working with them. They give us a trial, put some feedback into the software, where you can automatically, like in this case here, the building, you can just point cloud the whole building and automatically it will highlight which objects are out of tolerance for you, you know, and you won't just go tick box and check everything. So you don't have to go through different softwares and generate different heat maps or anything like that. That will do automatically for you, and you can see what's actually out of tolerance. So at the moment, it's a work in progress here to get that one out there for us. Also, we use the project for analysis, like cut and fill analysis and structural analysis and things like that. So this is it, just to give you a glimpse on what we have to deal with at the construction stage as a contractor. That'll be the end of my presentation. Thank you.